Hey friends, we're glad to have you join us for Sunday School today. Today we're talking about the Ascension, and the Ascension is a story about when Jesus goes home to heaven. And so we're going to start off our service today with a song that we're praising Jesus' name. He's the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, and He is the great I am. And now we're going to hear Miss Julia's story about the Ascension, where Jesus goes home.
Hi guys, how are you? Congratulations on being done with school. I hope you guys are having a good summer so far. This week in Sunday School, we are going to talk about the Ascension. And the Ascension happens about 40 days after Jesus reappears to the disciples. And you guys remember that. We have studied that as far as the road to Emmaus, and then when Jesus shows up in the room. And we know he's been with the disciples teaching them everything they'll need to know. Because do you guys know what happens to Jesus after he rises from the dead on Easter? He is with the disciples for 40 days. And then he ascends into heaven, which means he goes up into heaven. He's taken into heaven, body and soul, where he will live forever. So today we're going to hear that story. We're going to read about it in the Beginner's Bible. And again, I'll try hard to read it and show you guys the pictures. The story we're going to read today is called Jesus Goes Home. So the guy in the middle with his hands up in the air, that's Jesus. And then those other people are his apostles or his friends. So it says, Jesus goes home. Jesus led his friends to a place near Bethany. He lifted his hands up and blessed them. Tell other people about me, he said. Then he went up into the sky. A cloud hid him so his friends could not see him. They stood looking up to the sky for a long time. So here he is blessing his followers. And then there he is after he's gone up in the cloud. And is that not the craziest thing, guys? Have you ever seen anybody float up into heaven? I'm sure the disciples were a little bit confused about what was going on. But all of a sudden, 2 angels appeared. Do you see the angels there? They said, "Why are you still looking into the sky? Jesus has gone to heaven. Someday he will come back the same way you saw him leave." Then the friends went back to the city with joy in their hearts. Now, that's a little bit different, isn't it, than the last time Jesus left them? Because the last time Jesus left them was when he was crucified, when he was led away to death. And when Jesus died and they couldn't find his body on Easter Day initially, do you guys remember, were the disciples happy or were they scared? They didn't know what was going on. But this time they're happy because they know Jesus has gone to heaven. So it goes on to say on this page, Jesus taught them many things. They would always remember what he said. Do not worry or be afraid. Trust in God and trust in me. In God's house there are many rooms. I will go and make a place ready for you, and someday I will come back and take you with me so you can be where I am. Now, guys, before Jesus went up to heaven, he gave the disciples a special instruction, or a job, a commission of what it is they're supposed to do. And we're going to talk about that because this is important. We're going to talk about the last instructions that Jesus gave the disciples, because I want you guys to know these. He gave 3 instructions and then gave them a message. So the 3 instructions are: go and make disciples of all of the nations. And what does that mean, guys? Do you know? Go and make disciples of all of the nations. It means teach people about Jesus. Teach people about being a Christian and about the church everywhere. The second one, baptize people in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. How many of you were baptized in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit? Our church has been doing this for over 2,000 years because that's what Jesus instructed people to do. And we're still doing it today. And finally, he told them, teach people to obey everything I have commanded you. And we've been talking a lot these last few weeks about Jesus' teachings and what he wants people to do. He also gave them one last reassurance. He said, I am with you always to the end of the age. And this comes from Matthew chapter 28, verses 19 and 20. And I think that's probably part of the reason why the disciples were happy. Even though Jesus left them again to go to heaven, Jesus is still with him. And you guys, it's kind of like that now with us in our church family. Even though we're not together in the same building, we are so much like the early church right now, guys. We are still worshiping in our homes and with our families, and through writing letters to each other and sending videos to each other and having Zoom chats with each other and FaceTime with each other. We are still the church even though we aren't in the same building. And we know that even though we aren't physically together, that we will be there for each other and the church is still strong and alive. And we're going to spend the summer talking about how the church is bigger than just a building and how the early disciples practiced being a Christian before there were big fancy church buildings like ours to gather in. How they taught each other about the love of Christ through their actions and teachings, and we're going to learn how to do that too. So I want you guys to think about going and making disciples of all the nations, the importance of being baptized, and teaching people to obey God's teachings and commandments and Jesus' teachings and commandments. And I want you guys to work on those 3 things. And I want you to remember that Jesus is with you always until the end of time. Have a good week, and I'll see you next week on Pentecost. Bye, guys. I love you.
Thanks, Miss Julia, for that great story about Jesus going home, and also for what our new job is, to go out to the world. So I've got a little song here for you that is a very famous song. It's a song called Going Home, and I've changed the words a little bit to sort of represent what we're talking about here today. So we're going to sing Going Home, and the words go going home, he is going home. And then the second part of it is to the world, we go to the world. And then the last part of it is he will come, or coming soon, he is coming soon. So the words will be at the bottom for you, and you can sing along with us. All right, you ready? Okay. Here we go. Going home, going home, he is going home. Going home, going home, he is going home. To the world, we go to the world. To the world, we go to the world. Coming soon, he is coming soon. Coming soon, he is coming soon. Thanks, friends. We hope you have a wonderful week, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.